This is a 72 bug, and the bumper's upside down. And it's hitting the paint. It's new paint. Pretty new. This is the wheel cylinder, and that's the adjuster. It's on upside down too. And you can see this slot has got an angle to it, and the wide side is up. The distance between here and that star, that should be on the bottom. Okay, they're both frozen. The vice grips will not do it. They have no grease. They should have lubed them when they put the thing together. So I'm going to use heat as oxyacetylene to get these things off. The wheel cylinder has an issue. This piston will slide all the way through this wheel cylinder. It's not supposed to. It's just there's no ring on it. There's no stop to keep it from doing that. And that's how this car was made. That's how it came new. Here's what the piston should look like. It's got this ring on it. That's from an Aute cylinder for Aute German for a square back. This is the piston that's in it. This is a real old piston with a clip. See the gap? See the gap on that piston or that clip? There's no gap on the Type 3 piston. Where's that thing at? See it right there? That's the ends. There's no gap, so they touch. And it turns around pretty easily. You can spin it around. This is a 72 bus, 72 to the last Vanagon wheel cylinder piston. And on the proper cylinder, it'll slide all the way through. So because it has, so these two types of pistons need the brakes adjusted in two different ways. This one, you adjust it until the wheel won't turn, and then you back it off till it's free, and then you do the other, shoe. So you do the front shoe, and then you do the back shoe. Turn it, adjust so it won't turn, back it off, then do the other one. On this one, you turn the adjuster a little at a time. If you don't, what will happen is the shoe will continue to push this into it'll start pushing this thing into the cylinder, and if it goes far enough on either, whether it's this type of seal or the cup type that this has, it could push the cup back past the fluid inlet hole, and so you could adjust your brakes with this new thing and get in the car and push on the brake pedal, and you'll have brake fluid all over your brake shoes because this thing has pushed that seal back past this opening. So if you have these, you got to adjust them a little at a time. And if you have this, you got to have a gap. Because what this does is, for instance, if you put the handbrake on, the shoe is just really pushing hard against this piston, and it can actually push the clip off because this is too wiggly. This is too easy to turn. So what you do is you take this thing off, and you cut a little off each end. This one hasn't been cut. And then you put it in a vise, and you have to do this. You want to separate, you want it so the ends, when you compress it, they don't hit each other, because then you won't be able to bend it. And then you'll bend it. It'll be a smaller diameter. It'll be shorter because you've already cut a little off the pair of cutters. And you stick it back on the piston. It'll be right. And you can just adjust it normally. But with these, you got to adjust it the other way. While you're if you find that if you don't check this before you put it in the, you have to take the dust cover off just to see it. You know, you won't see whether it's got a clip or not. So if you buy this stuff at Napa or something like that, take a look at it. And doing this is really irresponsible. They should put a note in the wheel cylinder box that says, this is how you adjust the brakes. Because this is dangerous. You could end up adjusting them stupid with this. Not because you're stupid, because this is stupid. And they work, and then you could be driving along someday and hit the brakes, and this thing could move all the way back, and all your fluid goes out. And if you have a single circuit system, you'll have zero brakes. And if you have a dual circuit system, you'll still have the front brakes. But this is step one to doing a brake job. Even if this was all perfect, I'd still take it apart and clean it up, hone it out a little. Because what I believe happens is when these things sit on the shelf, the rubber can get stuck to the metal just from sitting. And then you do your brakes and you put the brakes on, and this thing it's basically, I mean, it's not visible, but it's ripping this rubber off of the metal that it's stuck to, and it damages it, and then you end up with a small leak. Over time, it'll accumulate in this. But just take a look at these parts before you put them in, or while you're putting them in, and pay attention so you'll have good brakes even with this. Because if this design is good enough for a 72 bus, this type, or this, it's good enough for a bug. It's just you have to adjust it the proper way. So that's it. Wheel cylinders.